Hi there, my name's Shannon and I'm going to be doing some crafts with you today. Today we are going to be making two different crafts. The first one is a glitter jar and the second one is a homemade stress ball. So the theme of our activities for this week are stress relieving tools and things you can use to manage your emotions. I use a lot of these tools both in my job as a grade 1 teacher and also in Girl Guides where I am a commissioner and have been a leader in the past. So I am so excited to be doing this with you and kids up front, and I'm looking forward to doing these crafts with you today. And just always remember, if I'm going too fast or you need to pause and take a break, you can always pause the video and then come back to it when you're ready. All the materials you should have with you, so let's get started. So the first craft that we're going to make is a glitter jar. And I'm sure you've seen these before online. They're quite popular and they're actually really easy to make. So first I'm going to show you the materials that are in your kit and things that you will need, and then we can get started and make the glitter jar. And these are the materials that you are going to need. First, you're going to need a jar, then some glitter, and there's also some little embellishments that you can add as well. Food coloring if you'd like, some clear glue, and some water. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to put some clear glue into our jar. And this really helps the glitter slow down when it's going, because the way that I use glitter jars, not only do they look cool, is when you're feeling upset or stressed, you can shake them really, really hard and all the glitter will swirl around inside. And usually by the time all of the glitter falls down to the bottom, you're probably going to feel more calm. And so adding the glue will help it to go a little bit slower. So you don't need a lot. I usually only put about a quarter of the way up. So I'll just pour some in there. That's probably enough. And if it's not, you can always go back and add some more. I'm now going to add some water. This is just water from my tap. Oops. That's okay. And you don't want to fill it all the way because you still want to have room to add your glitter. Once you've added your water, you are going to put in as much glitter as you'd like. There's never too much. So I have this pink glitter that I'm going to add, and I'm just going to pour it in. Glitter is one of my favorite things to use because it's so fun. Now I'm going to add just another kind of glitter that I have. So I'll put just a little bit of that in there. I have my 2 layers of glitter, and now I can add my embellishments. So these are the ones that I have. I decided to go with kind of a pink, purple, blue, and white theme. I think those colors will look really nice together. So I'm going to add in my purple, and my blue stars. You can see the glitter starting to fall in, and that's fine. Give these a good shake. I will add my pink stars. I like the little details of these. That's good. It's starting to look really cool. I will add a few white stars as well. And I think that is going to look awesome. Now that I have added all the glitter and it's kind of sitting right at the top, I'm going to put the lid back on and make sure that it's really, really tight before I shake it. So it's on tight. Here comes the fun part. You just shake it. You have to shake it quite a bit so that all the glitter that is settling doesn't get stuck in the glue. And from here you can decide if you need to add more glitter or if you want to add food coloring, anything like that. If it looks a little bit bubbly, it's just the glue. It's not anything to worry about, and the bubbles will settle down. Okay, so I have quite a lot of bubbles. That's all right, we'll just let that set for a moment. I'm going to take the lid off because I think I want to add some food coloring. Yeah, that looks great. But it definitely needs some food coloring. So I'm just going to add 1 drop of this pink food coloring. Just 1 little drop. It will look red, don't worry. It's all good. And there, those bubbles are really starting to settle down now. I'm going to give it another shake. And it really changed the color. It looks awesome. Now, as you can see, when I flip it upside down here, there is a lot of purple glitter that got stuck. That's okay. You just have to keep shaking it to make sure that those go away. Ooh. Really make sure your lid is on tight there. All right, I'm going to let that settle and we can talk a little bit about when you might want to use these tools. And so I have these in my classroom in something called a calm down kit, and it's in the classroom. Any student can use it, and it is for when they're feeling emotions that they're having a hard time managing. And so there are things like a little notebook they can draw or write about how they're feeling. There's some stress balls, which we're going to make next. There's these glitter jars, Play-Doh, things like that are all tools that help get how you're feeling in your brain and in your heart out of your body. So having things that you can squeeze or shake are really, really helpful. So my glitter jar is still a little bubbly on the top, so I'm going to give it just some more time, but you can see that it's really settled on the bottom. So maybe while we're letting that go, we can move on to our next craft, and our next craft is going to be a stress ball. Stress balls are great because you can squeeze them and stretch them and get all of your frustration out without hurting anybody or yourself. And so this one is a very easy recipe. We are going to use lotion, cornstarch, and mix it together and then put it into a balloon. So I'm going to show you our materials and then we can start mixing. So I just have some cornstarch, some lotion, it can be any kind, this is just an old one that I had, and a balloon to put it in. And then you're also going to need a spoon and a bowl for mixing. So the important thing to remember with this is we don't have a recipe, but you're going to put in half the amount of lotion as cornstarch. So if I'm putting in 4 scoops of cornstarch, I only need 2 scoops of lotion. So I'm going to put some cornstarch in my bowl. It can get kind of messy sometimes, that's probably lots. And then I can add in my lotion. You can even use hair conditioner for this if you have some lying around that you would like to use. So I'll just put in a little bit more lotion. This stuff is kind of old and I don't use it anymore. So instead of throwing it away, I thought I would use it for something else. So as you start mixing, you should start to get kind of a Play-Doh consistency or a slime consistency. And I like doing it this way instead of a more traditional stress ball where you just put flour or sand or something like that, because I've had it happen to me and I'm sure it's happened to others as well, where you're playing with your stress ball and it breaks. That might happen if you are playing with it really hard or stretching it or something like that. And so when a flour balloon explodes, it is really, really messy and it's really hard to clean up. It gets everywhere. So if this one bursts, which again, it might happen, just depends how you're using it, it will be more like a Play-Doh or a slime that you can just pick up. So I like that. So you can see that it's starting to get kind of the right texture. You're just going to keep mixing and mixing and mixing, and if you really want to, you could get in with your hands and you could start mixing it this way. So you can see it's kind of like cake icing. That should be about the texture that you want. So if it's not quite right, you could add a little bit more cornstarch if it's too liquidy. So I'm just going to add a little bit. Or if it's too hard or too powdery, just add a little bit more lotion. So it's kind of a guessing game to get the right texture. But if you can pick it up and mold it in your hands, which we'll check in just a minute, then it's the right consistency. So you can see that it is one clump all together. It does look like cake icing, and that's the perfect texture. So now I'm going to get my hands out and I'm going to mix it with my hands. The other cool thing about this too is if you don't want to put it in a balloon, you don't have to, because using things like slime or Play-Doh or silly putty are also great stress relieving tools, because stretching them and pulling them apart is a great way to relieve stress. And things are stressful right now. I mean, we're home all the time. Maybe someone you know has gotten sick. School is different. I know school's really different for the teachers too. And we are all just doing our very best during this time to still have some fun and do some things together. So I'm so happy that Kids Up Front is doing these craft things. I think that's fantastic. So it's really slimy and really gross. Here's a tip. If you don't want to get your hands all icky and goopy like I just did, like that, you can add a little bit of cornstarch right to your hand and it will come right off. That's also a tip in baking too. I love to bake. That's another one of my hobbies. And so putting some flour on your hands while you're mixing your cookie dough or anything like that will help keep your hands not super sticky. So I've got almost the right texture. You can see my table is a bit of a mess, and that is okay because messes can always be cleaned up. All right, I'm going to take it out of my bowl, put it right on my table, and you can see that it's really like a Play-Doh. So I'm going to just stretch it and pull it with my fingers until it does not stick to my hands anymore and it's nice and squishy. You want to make sure that your workspace is clean if you're doing this, just because you wouldn't want any food particles or anything to get into your Play-Doh slime stuff, because then it could get moldy and that would be pretty gross. All right, so I can roll it into a ball. It's ready to go. Here is my Play-Doh stretchy stuff. Now to make it a more usable thing where it's not going to get super messy, we're now going to put our slime or Play-Doh or putty, I don't really know what to call it. We're going to put it into a balloon so it has a protective cover. So I'm just going to go and wash my hands and then we can put it into the balloon. So now that my hands are clean, they're also quite soft because it is lotion that we use to make this. I'm going to put it into my balloon. You might need someone to help you with this. If you have a grown-up in your house or another friend, a sibling, they could help you. So this into here is not going to go all at once. We'll put just a little bit at a time. This part is going to take a little bit, so I'm going to just speed it up. What I'm finding works the best for this is taking my fingers and pulling them down the neck as much as I can, and then just pushing the clay into the balloon as much as I can, and really just pushing it with my thumbs. I know that's kind of hard to see. It's a messy project, but that is okay. So push it right in because we're going to be tying off the neck, so you don't want it to be full of the Play-Doh. So now we have our balloon. It's full of the clay that we made. So I'm going to just squeeze and wiggle the neck down as much as I can, just to make sure there's no clay in there, because when we are tying it up, we don't want to have any stuff that's stuck. And the other good thing too is I know there's no air in here because it's absolutely full with our Play-Doh mixture. So I'm just going to make sure one more time that everything is out, and then I'm going to tie off my balloon. Now, a lot of people have a hard time tying balloons. This is the way that I find it to be the easiest. So I hold it with my hand like this. I wrap it around my fingers, but leave my thumb inside, and then pull it through with my thumb. Then it's stuck on my finger like this, and all I have to do is hold the end of the balloon and pull my finger out and tighten it. So I'm going to just tie one more knot just to be safe. I'm going to then clean up my workspace. We'll get back to our glitter jar, see how it's doing, and test out our stress ball. I also just wanted to cut off the little neck of my balloon just so it's not in the way. Just make sure that you're cutting it a little bit above the knot so the knot doesn't get untied. But there is our stress ball. It's nice and squishy. You can squeeze out all your feelings and anything that is bothering you. It's a good thing to have on hand. And like I said, if you don't want to put it in a balloon, you just want to use it as a putty, you can do that too. So we have our stress ball. We have our glitter jar as well. It is all done. One thing I would recommend with the glitter jar is to use some super glue or some other strong glue just to seal the top, just in case, and we don't really want to open it again, we won't have to. The glitter will always go back to circulating when you shake it. I have one glitter jar upstairs in my bedroom that I have had for years, and it still works perfectly fine. So I would definitely recommend gluing the lid on so it doesn't spill or open accidentally. And I'm going to show you a nice close-up of both of our things. So here is our glitter jar and our stress ball. Stress ball's nice and squishy, and it will always go back to its original shape. Kind of reminds me of a lemon a little bit with my yellow balloon. I wonder what color balloon you used for yours. And here is our glitter jar. We'll give it a nice big shake and watch all the glitter settle to the bottom. As you're shaking it, you can think of your frustrations, your stress, maybe something at school is bothering you, something at home. And as you watch the glitter fall, you can think of peaceful thoughts, ways to make yourself feel better, things you're proud of that you've done, things that you hope and wish for the future. I just find it so relaxing to watch. So that's it. That's our first 2 crafts for this month. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope that you had fun and enjoyed making your glitter jar and your stress ball, and I can't wait to do another craft with you next week. So take care, and thanks again so much to Kids Up Front for asking me to do this video series with you, and I will see you next time. Bye!